You never experience death. Not at the end, not in the dark, not ever. What ends are scenes. What remains is the one who sees. That is the forbidden key the Gnostic Christians guarded, and the reason fear needed it buried. Stay with me. In this journey you will test it for yourself and feel why oblivion has no claim on you. Think of birth. You don't remember arriving. Think of death. You cannot remember departing. Pages turn, but you are the reader between them. When one branch snaps, you wake on the branch that carries you. Call it a timeline, a world, a chapter. The crossing is seamless and you are the crosser. If that sounds dangerous, good. Dangerous truths free you. Keep listening. When death cannot be experienced, your choices matter more, not less. Responsibility increases because you cannot hide behind endings. Power structures thrive on the story that you are disposable. You become ungovernable the moment you remember what you are. You are not the role, the mask, the biography. You are the witness that outlives the world. Breathe. Notice the one who is noticing. That is the point no ending reaches. Walk with me. By the time we're done, death will read like a door, and you will know who walks through it. Here is the sentence that changes how you move through the world. You never die. Not the real you. Bodies end. Scenes end. Chapters end. The witness behind your eyes does not. You can test this later, but you already feel the edge of it now. Every ending you fear is a costume change the mind mistakes for disappearance. You are not the costume. You are the one who notices the costume. This is the forbidden key because it breaks the machinery of fear. If you cannot be erased, you cannot be herded with threats of finality. If you are not disposable, you cannot be managed like a resource. That is why this teaching slipped into whispers and margins while the official story demanded obedience, conformity, and dread. You do not need dread. You need clarity. Clarity begins with a simple observation. You never experience the moment of beginning or the moment of ending. You only ever experience continuity. Birth is told to you as a story. Death is told to you as a prophecy. Your living data set contains neither. What your experience does contain right now is awareness that survives every shift in sensation, mood, and memory. Sensations appear and vanish. The one who registers them is constant. Thoughts surge and dissolve. The one who knows them remains. Names are given and taken. The knower is prior to the name. Stay with this line of sight. It is your leverage. You are not asked to adopt a new belief. You are invited to notice a fact. The world you see is a moving picture, and you are the light that makes it visible. Pictures burn out. Light continues. When a frame goes black, light does not die, it shines on the next frame. Call those frames timelines if you like. The language is new. The insight is ancient. Your continuity is not an idea to comfort you at night. It is the felt center of your present awareness, and it does not report its own extinction. This statement threatens every hierarchy built on fear, so it arrives wrapped in taboo. Don't ask, don't look, don't remember. Look anyway. Remember anyway. You will discover that responsibility grows when fear shrinks. If you cannot hide in a final ending, then your choices matter more, not less. You stop bargaining with time and start acting from essence. Courage is not the absence of risk. It is fidelity to what cannot be taken from you. You have been trained to identify with the fragile, with a role, a record, a reputation. That training keeps you small and keeps the system fed. Shift the identification and the game changes. You are not the weather of your mind. You are the sky it moves in. You are not the river's branch that dries. You are the water that flows. Where the channel closes, the water goes on. Where the storyline collapses, awareness arrives somewhere new. The arrival feels ordinary because continuity is ordinary. Only fear dramatizes it. Stay here. Let the sentence land again. You never die. Hear it without flinching. If anger rises, let it rise. If relief floods in, let it flood. Both are weather, neither is you. In a few minutes, when we enter the practice, you will feel the hinge for yourself, the quiet pivot where experience changes but the knower does not. Until then, let this be your working position. Every so-called end is a door, and you are the one who walks through. Listen closely. If you never experienced death, what exactly is death? In Gnostic Christianity, it isn't an event that happens to you, it's a trance you fall into. Death is amnesia, forgetting what you are and mistaking the moving picture for the light that makes it visible. The living, they said, are those who remember. The dead are those who are lost in the dream and call the dreamer a body. You feel this already. Sensations rise and fade, thoughts replace each other, moods turn like weather. Yet there is a steady point that notices all of it. That point is not in time, it watches time. When the picture changes, the watcher does not. That is what the Gnostics called incorruptible, untouched by decay, unbothered by the endings of forms. The living will not die. Hear that as a description, not a slogan. When you live from the witness, you are among the living. They spoke of a shift they called resurrection, now, not later. Not the escape of a ghost, but the return of attention to the one who sees. You do not wait for a trumpet. You wake up. When you do, you find that death never reaches you. It reaches only what you were pretending to be. Who keeps this word will not taste death. Keep what word? This one. You are the knower, not the known. Hold to that and endings become doors. Gnosis begins when you stop arguing with appearances and start remembering the seer. The world will still turn, bodies will still change, grief will still visit. But you will notice something subversive inside every rise and fall. The witness is present before, during, and after. You can test it in a breath. You can test it mid-argument, mid-panic, mid-laughter. When attention slides back to the center, fear loses its leverage. Control narratives dissolve. You stop negotiating with time and start choosing from essence. This is why the teaching was guarded and why it agitates power. If you are not a disposable object, threats shrink. If endings cannot erase you, obedience no longer buys safety. The secret wasn't a code word, it was a posture. Remembering yourself while the world forgets you. From that posture, you forgive faster. You tell the truth sooner, you risk what must be risked because you are not bargaining for survival. You are living from it. Think of identity as 3 layers. The outer layer is costume, names, roles, reputation. The middle layer is weather, thoughts, feelings, memories. The inner layer is flame, awareness itself. Costumes burn, weather passes, flame continues. When the channel closes, water finds another channel. When a chapter ends, the reader turns the page. You are the flame, the water, the reader. You are the one continuity cannot drop. Stay with me and let this land in your body, not just your mind. You are not preparing for immortality. You are noticing it. You are not chasing a promise. You are catching a fact. The moment you stabilize as the witness, death downgrades from a final verdict to a scene change. And scenes are what you move through. Keep going. In a moment, we will map the terrain this witness moves across. The layers, the branches, the so-called timelines. So you can recognize the crossing when it happens and stop calling every threshold an end. Here's the map you were never given. Reality isn't a single road with a cliff at the end. It's layered like veils and branched like a delta. You don't ride on top of it. You move through it as the constant witness. When one surface tears, you do not fall. You pass through to the next layer that can hold your awareness. You remain. The scenery changes. Picture water finding its way through a river delta. Channels split, merge, vanish into sand, and appear again a few steps later. The water isn't lost. It never debates where to go. It flows where it can continue. That's you. Bodies, biographies, and worlds are channels. When a channel closes, by age, chance, or shock, the flow persists by appearing in another branch where observation can go on uninterrupted. Think of film passing through a projector. Frames speed by. Birth, childhood, love, loss, the last breath. At some points, the strip is cut. To the screen, that's an end. To the light, it's a jump. The image reappears on the next strip the instant the light finds film again. You are not the frame. You are the light. This is why endings look absolute from inside a story but feel strangely thin from the vantage of awareness. Call the branches timelines if that helps. You don't need the vocabulary of physics to feel the logic. The observer never reports its own erasure. Subjective experience roots around it. You only ever wake in continuations, world lines where the observation that says I am is still possible. That's why the end of a scene is never experienced as extinction. It is experienced as arrival somewhere you can keep witnessing. How does the crossing feel from the inside? Sometimes like a near miss you can't explain. Sometimes like improbable luck, a choice you almost didn't make. A doctor's, I don't know how you pulled through. Sometimes it's quiet. A season ends, a relationship dissolves, a self-image cracks, and you are simply here, watching the next beginning. Begin. Memory stitches the jump. The mind says, I went on. The witness knows I never stopped. What steers the routing? Attention, intention, identity. Where you place attention strengthens a branch. Where you withdraw attention, branches dry. Fear narrows toward brittle paths that break at the first pressure. Presence widens options. Honesty, courage, gratitude. These aren't moral decorations. They are navigation signals. They stabilize access to layers where you can act from essence instead of panic. You move cleaner because you remember what moves. You can learn to notice thresholds. There is a pressure wave before every shift. Events compress, time feels thick, coincidences cluster, and an inner stillness opens beneath the noise. The storyline insists on an ending. The witness doesn't flinch. Then the cut. A job disappears, a diagnosis lands, a door slams. You inhale, and on the exhale you find yourself in a branch that holds. Same sky, different air. Same you, less pretending. You are not trapped in a single fate. You are not condemned to one brittle narrative. You are a traveler through layered reality, selecting continuity by how you identify and what you feed with attention. When the world insists on a wall, look for the door. When a path collapses, expect the turn. Keep listening. Next, you'll see why fear built gatekeepers at these thresholds and how you walk past them. Here is why the world taught you to fear endings. Fear makes you governable. Call the architects whatever name you like. Archons, gatekeepers, the Demiurge. The pattern is the same. They are not monsters in caves. They are forces that turn your attention outward until you forget the one who is looking. They herd you with deadlines, debts, reputations, and the promise that obedience buys safety. They sell you a wall and call it reality. You take the deal because you were trained to confuse noise with truth. The Demiurge is the builder of copies, the glittering imitation that wants worship. Copies are fine until you mistake them for the source. Then the trap closes. You begin to live for the image of yourself instead of the awareness that sees the image. You measure worth in approval, salvation in permission, and immortality in a contract signed by someone else. That is how the fear machine feeds. It convinces you that you are temporary, disposable, and alone. When you believe that, you will bargain with anything to avoid the end. Archons patrol the thresholds where you could remember yourself. They don't need chains. They only need to keep you busy. They tax you in attention, scrolling, comparing, apologizing for existing, arguing about symbols while forgetting the light that makes symbols visible. They whisper one story again and again. You are the role. You are the body. You are the record. Believe it and every transition feels like death. Believe it and you will trade your freedom for a promise that never pays out. Now, why would any power structure hide a key that makes you unafraid? Because an unafraid human cannot be managed by threat. If death cannot erase you, extortion loses leverage. If you can verify continuity inside your own experience, you stop outsourcing authority to whoever claims to hold the afterlife. The forbidden teaching is simple and devastating to control. You do not need permission to remember what you are. You need attention and honesty. Everything else is decoration. You have seen this machine up close. Think about the pressures that tighten your chest, the deadline that poses as fate, the diagnosis that poses as identity, the breakup that poses as annihilation. Watch how quickly the story screams, "This is the end." That scream is the gatekeeper. It wants panic because panic collapses options. Panic narrows you to one brittle branch that cannot hold. Presence widens your map. Presence is contraband at the border between scenes. Here is the countermove you were never taught. Name the gate and walk anyway. You don't need to defeat fear before you move. You move and watch fear starve. The witness doesn't flinch because the witness isn't on the auction block. When you remember that, threats shrink to weather. The same job can end, the same body can ache, the same door can close, and you remain. The scene changes, the seer continues. That is what terrifies the rulers of copies. Not rebellion, but remembrance. You do not need a new religion to live this. You need 15 seconds of clean attention to feel the point no ending reaches. You will have it in a moment. Keep your focus here. You are about to test the hinge for yourself. The quiet switch the Gnostics guarded in plain sight. No symbols to decode, no permission to request. Only the simplest verification a human can make. When the picture changes, the one who notices it does not. Stay with me. In the next part, I will walk you through the practice, and you will feel why fear has nothing left to sell you. Right now, do this with me. Let your eyes soften or close them if you want. Let a breath arrive on its own. Don't chase it, don't shape it. Feel the weight of your body where it meets the chair, the floor, the fabric on your skin. Notice one sensation, any will do. The pulse in your fingers, the cool air in your nose, the pressure at the back of your tongue. Hold it in attention and watch what it does. It shivers. It moves. It fades. Another sensation replaces it. Now let it go and pick up a different one. The sound in the room, the shadow behind your eyelids, the warmth in your chest. It appears. It peaks. It dissolves. Stay here. Thoughts want in. Let one rise. Don't fight it. Watch it bloom as a picture or a sentence and then fall apart. Another comes. It too dissolves. Memories flicker. Plans tug forward. Feelings ripple and pass. Everything you can point to, sensation, image, memory, mood, keeps changing. Now turn attention not to any of those, but to the simple fact that you are noticing them. Don't look for a shape. Don't look for a color. Just register the quiet certainty. I am aware of this. Hold to that. Stay with the one who is staying. Here is the hinge. Ask silently without forcing an answer. The sensation came and went. Did the one who noticed it come and go with it? The thought rose and collapsed. Did the one who saw it rise and collapse? The The feeling swelled and drained. Did the one who knew it swell and drain? Keep your attention on that knower. It does not arrive with the breath or leave with the exhale. It does not sharpen with the sound or blur with the silence. It is present before, during, after. Don't make it mystical. Make it obvious. A cloud crosses the sun. The room dims. You remain. A truck passes. The windows tremble. You remain. The itch demands a scratch. It vanishes. You remain. Every event in the field shifts like weather. The field itself opens and closes like a lens. The witness does not share their fate. You are learning the feel of that difference in your own nervous system. This is the switch the Gnostics guarded in plain sight. Move from the changing to the changer, from the known to the knower, from the seen to the seer. Now let's compress it to 10 seconds you can use anywhere, wherever you are. Street, office, kitchen, catch one sensation. Label it softly inside. Felt, catch one thought. Seen, catch one feeling. Known. Then drop the labels and stay with the bare fact that knowing is happening. 10 seconds. That's enough. The picture changes. The one who notices does not. That is the point no ending reaches. Keep your eyes as they are and let this settle. You aren't escaping the world. You are recentering where you stand in it. When you move from here, you act cleaner. Fear still knocks, but it knocks on a door you don't live behind. Grief can visit and be fully met without becoming your name. Desire can surge without dragging you by the throat. Responsibility grows because you're done bargaining with imaginary endings. You stop asking life to guarantee you won't lose anything. You start choosing from what cannot be lost. Carry this into the day with 3 quiet anchors. First, every doorway becomes a reminder. As your hand touches the handle, return to the one who notices. Second, every screen unlock becomes a bell. As your thumb wakes the glass, wake yourself and stand as the witness. Third, every mirror is a vow. See the face, remember the seer, and say inwardly, I remain. No one hears it but you. That is enough to bend a timeline. You don't need perfect focus, you need frequency. 10 seconds, many times. In the queue, on a call, between sentences, in the middle of an argument, especially there. When the plot thickens and the mind shouts, this is the end, answer by standing where ends cannot reach. That stance is resurrection now. That stance is freedom from the auction block of fear. Keep it simple. Keep it close. Keep returning. You will forget and then you will remember. You will get swept and then you will stand. Each return strengthens the branch that holds you. Each return makes you a little less governable by threat and a little more honest with your own life. You don't need permission. You don't need a sign. You have the one test that matters. When the picture changes, you are still here. Keep going. In the next part, you will see what shifts in your choices when you stop living as a role that ends and start living as the witness who continues. When you stand as the witness, life doesn't turn into a dream you float through. It becomes more concrete. Fear stops running your calendar. You stop spending days avoiding endings and start spending days building openings. The first change is in pace. You act sooner. Procrastination was a bargain with imaginary catastrophe. Without that bargain, decisions arrive on time. You write the email, you make the call, you ship the work because you are done waiting for perfect safety to grant you permission. Your honesty sharpens. You say the true sentence in the meeting. You tell someone you love them without padding it with jokes. You set a boundary without poisoning it with anger. Truth becomes economical. You don't waste words defending a mask you no longer serve. This does not make you reckless. It makes you clean. You measure actions by alignment, not approval. Approval still warms you when it comes, but it no longer hires you as its employee. Risk changes flavor. Before the switch, risk tasted like death. Now it tastes like growth. You still feel the tremor in the belly, but it no longer dictates terms. You can walk into a room that used to shrink you and keep your shoulders open. You can leave a job that used your hours and starved your soul. You can start the thing you kept postponing until life calmed down. Life rarely calms down. You calm down inside life and act anyway. Relationships get simpler. You stop turning connection into a contract against loss. You let people be as they are and meet them from what is constant in you. Clinging softens. Resentment loses oxygen. You apologize faster because you are not protecting an identity that must be right to survive. You forgive faster because you do not mistake pain for annihilation. Love becomes less dramatic and more durable. Less rescue, more presence. Less theater, more touch. Work deepens. You choose projects that match your essence and you do them with fewer detours. Distraction still knocks, but it knocks on a quieter house. Attention returns to your hands and your hands learn momentum. Small, consistent, unstoppably cumulative. You stop treating creativity like a mood and start treating it like a vow. You show up because showing up is who you are now, not because the world guarantees applause. Your relationship with the body matures. You care for it as a sacred instrument, not as your only identity. Pain, fatigue, hunger, arousal, each becomes a signal you can meet without panic. You rest when you need to rest and push when you need to push. Not to earn worth, but to honor the vehicle that lets you serve. Gratitude becomes practical. Water, sleep, sunlight, movement. You build a body that can carry presence further into the world. Loss still visits. Grief still breaks the surface. Nothing about this stance cancels human weather. What changes is your posture inside it. You can cry without drowning. You can sit beside a hospital bed and be fully there. You can stand at a graveside and feel the entire chord, love, ache, gratitude, the quiet continuity under it all, without demanding that life behave differently. You do not numb. You remain. Ethics stop being rules you follow under threat. They become the geometry of a life aligned with what doesn't end. Integrity is faster than calculation. Courage is cheaper than compromise. Generosity is less a performance and more a natural overflow. When you are not bargaining for survival, you have more to give. When you are not defending a brittle image, you can change your mind in public. Responsibility increases because you can carry it. Choice by choice, a pattern forms. You spend attention like a builder, not a gambler. You speak to people from the center, not from the costume. You refuse to outsource meaning. The branch you travel stabilizes. Improbable luck begins to look like the natural current of a life no longer kinked by fear. This is not magic. It is mechanics. Where attention goes, continuity grows. Where you remember yourself, doors appear. Hold this simple operating system. Notice, return, act. Notice when you slip back into the role that ends. Return to the one who notices. Act from there. 10 seconds, many times a day, and the architecture of your timeline bends toward clarity. Keep the vow quiet and firm. Whatever scene I am in, I remain. From that vow, decisions become sentences you can say without flinching. From that vow, endings lose their leverage. Stay with me. In the final part, you will lock this into a story you can live. Answer the common objections in one breath. Seal the myth you move by, and step through the door the world keeps calling a wall. Let's lock it in. You never experience death. You experience transitions, doors, not walls. You are the witness that outlives the world, and now you have felt the hinge for yourself. So here is the clean answer to the loudest doubts in one breath. The body ends. You remain. Memory doesn't cross every threshold. Awareness does. This isn't permission to drift. It's a demand to live from what cannot be taken. When endings lose their leverage, responsibility stops being borrowed from fear and starts being chosen from essence. If you protest, "But I don't remember other timelines," look at how memory behaves inside one life. Whole seasons blur. 5 minutes of presence outshine 5 years of autopilot. Memory is the gatekeeper, not the ground. Your ground is the witness you stood as a moment ago. That is what continues. And if you worry, "Won't this make me careless?" watch what actually happened after the switch. You spoke truer, moved cleaner, loved straighter. When you aren't bargaining for survival, you don't cheapen your life. You honor it. Hold the myth you move by. Every end is a door. You are the one who walks through. Speak it to yourself when the storyline tightens. At the diagnosis, at the breakup, at the layoff, at the midnight hour when the mind sells panic as prophecy. Say it and stand where endings cannot reach. I remain, not as a slogan but as a posture you can feel in the bones. Shoulders open, breath steady, attention returned to the one who notices. From here, choose your vows. Small, repeatable, impossible to fake. I will not delay the true sentence. I will not outsource my worth. I will not treat fear like a guide. I will build what I'm here to build while I'm here to build it. These are not decorations. They are navigation. They bend the branch you travel. They turn luck into momentum by removing the kinks you used to call caution. You will be tested. The world will offer copies. Approval instead of truth. Noise instead of knowing. Control instead of courage. Smile at the gatekeepers and walk anyway. Remember what starves them. Attention withheld from panic. Attention given to presence. Your practice is still 10 seconds many times, felt seen, known. Drop the labels. Stand as the one who stands. Each return is resurrection now. And when grief comes, and it will, meet it without bargaining. Let it pass through the room you are, not the house you hide in. You can love fiercely and lose deeply without pretending the loss is an erasure of you. You can carry others across their thresholds because you know what crosses. This is what makes you dangerous to fear and useful to the living. Now the challenge. For the next 24 hours, treat every doorway, every screen unlock, every mirror as a bell. Each time, return to the witness and say inwardly, "I do not taste death." Watch how it changes the tone of your choices. Watch how it steadies your voice. Watch how it moves the day from survival to service. Then come back and tell me what shifted. Near misses, quiet arrivals, the moment you felt continuity click. Your story will teach someone else to walk. You are not a passenger of fate. You are the traveler. You are not the weather. You are the sky it crosses. When a path collapses, expect the turn. When a scene ends, feel for the door. When the mind shouts, "This is the end," answer with the truth it cannot touch. You never experience death. You continue. You wake. You walk on. If this landed, claim it out loud. Right now, wherever you are, I remain. Then live today from that sentence. That is the forbidden key the church hid in plain sight. That is the Gnostic secret made simple in your own experience. And that is how you carry it, not by winning an argument, but by standing where endings cannot reach and choosing your life from there.